The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff or management of Visionary Related Entertainment.
Aloha and welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where you'll find us talking story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. Today I also want to welcome everybody to 2019. Happy New Year. I hope it was a good transition. Was it seamless? I don't think I've talked to anybody that had a seamless transition, but it's like something you were waiting for 2018 to be over and 2019 to start, and now that it has, it's like it's the same. No major difference. The sky is still blue. The weather's still warm. It's a beautiful day in Hawaii. We want to talk story here today with the folks from the Maui Satellite Job Corps Center and find out what they're up to. But we also want to thank our sponsor, who is Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, please stop by Pacific Source's Cabinet and Appliance Showroom located in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. We're going to start talking with Marshall Norman, who is the site director for the Job Corps Center here, and Jim Cusick, who is the
Outreach and Admissions Counselor.
Outreach and Admissions Counselor. There we go. We're having fun here today. We're playing around with the headphones to see if we want to use them or not. It's just one of those things that goes on the first couple days of the year. Everything is new and different.
Exactly. I feel like
we want to make it that
we're
way.
just getting back into our groove, and it's good. We're now the first agency to be on your radio spot for this year in 2019, so that will be definitely a hallmark and a highlight.
I was going to say, yeah, and I hope it's a good omen for the show. With these past 2 weekends being, for some people, 4-day weekends, I know my staff is kind of looking around going, okay, where did I leave off? Because for some of them, they even took Friday off because they had an extra vacation day to use up. So that was a 5-day weekend, and it's like, wait a minute, that's a week's vacation.
Yeah, and we see it too, especially when we're all of our students are off center right now on winter break, and so it really, really impacts us because when we don't have any students to serve, our jobs all lose a lot of validity to it too. So.
Not mine though. Enrollment always is a continuous operation.
You're working twice as hard.
Yep,
I got you. So I know we had you on just a few weeks ago, and it seems like maybe we're kind of jumping in fast here, but at that time we were talking about how enrollment is down a bit over there after years of it being just packed and wait lists that almost matched what you had in attendance. And we were talking about the reason for that. And I don't think we had time to really elaborate a little bit on that, except to say that most people can just go out and get a job today because there's so many job openings.
Yeah, which is some of the reasons for it, and I think what we see is it is cyclical. Unemployment. I mean, we're looking at full employment right now in Maui County and pretty much throughout the state. So I think that idea of education and training then almost becomes secondary in young adults' minds. They can think, hey, unemployment's so good, employers want us, that we can go out, we can get a job for $12, $13 an hour, no problem. But yet what we know is that the economy is always cyclical, and as it goes into a downturn, those individuals that do not have that education and training are the ones that are usually going to find themselves unemployed first. So our job right now is to get out there and get the word out about Job Corps, to say it's like, no, we want you to get education and training now so you can be even more employable and even more hireable for these employers. And what we have is a high employer demand right now coming towards us and letting us know that they are such in need of skilled and qualified workers, and so it allows us to tailor make our training programs to meet their needs. But we are on a quest to ensure that we have students coming into the Job Corps program to ensure that we can help those employers meet their employment needs.
Right, and we're talking what age group at this point?
We work exclusively with students ages 16 to 24.
Okay, and they can have dropped out of high school.
Yeah, I always say that the program the best segment of the population that the program really serves is post-high school, pre-college. Is we see this gap in education and training that doesn't really seamlessly integrate young adults from high school into higher education or into employment. There's a gap time, summer break, and we do know that a lot of students then fall through those cracks. If the students are coming from families where, they might not have the economic means to really help them transition into full-time employment or into higher education, it becomes a really, really difficult time for these young adults, and that's really where Job Corps can jump in. But we do service, our students that are 16, we do service them, and we have our high school diploma programs in concert with McKinley Community School for Adults. So if a student does come into the program and they do not have a high school diploma for whatever reason they may have, they can achieve their GED high set with us through McKinley Community School for Adults. And we also offer an online high school diploma component through Penn Foster Online High School as well. So there's lots of different options that we have for students coming into the program. We train primarily in 4 training areas, which are culinary arts, office administration, retail, sales, and facility maintenance. And we do have articulation agreements set up with UH Maui College, so students can actually get college credit if they complete our programs and then go into Maui College. So we have a lot of great offerings at the site right now, and we are a premier career technical training institution here in Maui County.
Wonderful. I think you just said it all.
Yeah,
Okay, we're done.
But also just the placement services after a young person completes their educational and vocational training. We have a staff that specializes in placing those students in the military, college and or advanced training on the mainland or directly into the workforce. So one of the benefits, I think, is beyond the training and the educational development of these students, when they do enter the workforce after Job Corps, they're a lot more prepared to succeed and make a higher wage than if they just kind of left high school and or just got their degree and went into the workforce directly. So we're really preparing them to become more independent and succeed, for themselves.
Right. It's more of a jump start instead of just walking in the door and see what happens. I think, Norman, when you mentioned earlier that you've got people with job opportunities calling you and asking you, have you got somebody for us? I think that says a lot right there, because they know what they're going to get when they get someone from Job Corps.
Yeah, and it's a hallmark of the program and some of the employer partnerships that we've been able to develop throughout the 30 years that Job Corps has been here on the island of Maui, is that the fact that employers can come to the site and say, hey, we need this type of qualified individual to work for us. Do you have anything? One way that we really work with a lot of our employers to leverage our students into those occupations is through our work-based learning program, which is a 6-week internships that students do with local area employers. There's no obligation to hire the student after that 6-week internship. However, we work with employers that we ask them to consider. If you find a student that has exemplary qualities and you would like to hire them, please consider hiring them. We do have wage goals, so we ask the employers hire the student to meet our wage goals, which is $13 an hour or higher. And most of the employers that we can work with do, and some of those ones that can't, they'll get us close to that 13-hour mark as possible. And usually they'll offer a promotional plan for the student to say, after 6 months or so, then maybe this is what we can then start paying that individual. So it is a really good relationship that we have with local employers, and ones that we're always looking to develop further. So if there's any local employers that are out there in the areas of retail sales, facility maintenance, culinary arts, office administration that are looking to help young adults and provide them training, and then also maybe get a good potential applicant out of it as well too, please call our center at 808-579
6506.
and we'll be in contact
And
with
you'll
you.
get a hold of Jim.
Yeah.
Right. Now, there's nothing that says that the student who goes out on one of these jobs for that 6 weeks, 6 weeks?
6 weeks.
If it's not a match, and they decide they don't want to work there or whatever, you work with them for the next job, right?
Correct. Yeah, and we're always, as Jim was talking about, that's really where a lot of our placement services come in. We want our students successful, so we want to ensure that when our students are exiting the program, that they are lined up in one of 5 career pathways. They're either off to higher education, they're either off to a really good, high-paying job, they're off to an apprenticeship program, they're enrolled in one of Job Corps' advanced training programs, or they're on their way to the military. So that's really where we're gearing students to go, is that they have a success plan in place from the day that they enter Job Corps.
The other thing that keeps ringing in my mind is they come with no bad habits because they haven't been trained by another company, or have worked somewhere else where they do things totally different. There's something to that, isn't there?
Well, sure. And they've been initially trained by, supreme leadership that are the trade bosses. The 4 trade bosses that we have on Maui campus are highly influential on the island and can oftentimes help their students get, high-wage jobs because of all their connections and their trust in the community.
So all they have to do is shine while they're at Job Corps.
Yeah, and that's actually another really big component of the program, is because our component is 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And after hours, we really, really focus on social skills training. And it's always those soft skills that really actually lead to employability. What is that individual doing their off time to make sure that they're employable, that when they get to work in the morning, they're ready to work a full 8-hour day? And that's one thing that we're working with our students. And I think a lot of times those type of skills are not necessarily educated anymore. It's we are so focused on meeting our academic goals and credentials that sometimes we forget just the overall employability skills that need to be educated, and behaviors have to be taught. So if individuals and students and young adults are not being taught those behaviors, they don't have those behaviors to be successful in the workforce. And I'm sure you've seen it with employees that you've had come on staff as well too, as we all have. But that is part of the component of the program, that it's not only are you going to have the cursory skills to be successful in, say, culinary arts or facility maintenance, but you also have those employability skills necessary to maintain that employment.
Very good. Jim.
Yes.
So what do you set goals? I mean, obviously you want the program to be full.
Sure. We have roughly about 50 openings on the Maui campus. So, my goal is to increase that enrollment. There is a hard goal that I don't necessarily need to share on a monthly basis, but yes, my job is to really do a lot of outreach in the community centers, high schools, other, services that support families and parents. So I go out and talk to those people and tell them the benefits of the Job Corps program, and talk to kids and students about, where they are currently and where they hope to be and their goals. And I outline, hey, if you partake in this program, you can meet those goals and become independent and successful for yourself. So really, I'm open to talking and meeting tons of people who are interested in the Job Corps. I can come to do presentations at community centers or schools, and or talk to families directly. So I'll drop my phone number here. It's 808-579-6506. Even if you just want to call me up and ask questions and chat about, what the typical experience is, I'm here to help. So.
Very good. On that note, we got to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Excellent.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our Maui nonprofit organizations and find out what they're doing to support the needs in our community. And one of the needs that we have in our community right now is this training program, which is put on by the Maui Satellite Job Corps Center. As you've been talking, I'm sitting here thinking, why wouldn't somebody make that call? I mean, if you really don't know what you want to do with tomorrow or the next couple years or whatever. You've had some people on the show that have come up there, they've had their degree from high school, and they just didn't know what they wanted to do, so they just weren't doing anything. And some of those folks have gone through your programs and in 6 months have been out there earning a living.
Yeah, correct. So that's kind of what I was talking about. It's just educating the public, really what we do. We really want students to come in, from into Job Corps, either from high school or post-high school preferably, and really come into the program as soon as they can, so there is not that gap time, so we can engage them in services. But it's also thinking that how Job Corps can assist you even while you're enrolled in high school. A lot of times, students, young adults might just be thinking that, hey, okay, I'm just going to go off to college after high school, and might not feel a great degree of passion about that, or they might just say, oh, I'm just going to go out there and get a job, and there's not that passion. Well, start thinking of Job Corps. Allow yourself to get passionate about what you want to do, and allow Job Corps to help leverage you into those fields you want to go. As I said, it's 5 career pathways, military, employment, higher education, advanced training, apprenticeships that we gear these students up to participate in. And the Job Corps program, it's really based on individual needs. So a student can be in the program as little as 6 months if they complete all their program requirements, or it might take them as long as 2 years to complete all their program requirements. But we will set up the program so it is beneficial to the individual that comes to us, and that they will be successful at the other end.
We should mention too that it is for those that qualify, who meet the age, income, and residency requirement, it's equivalent of approximately a $38,000 scholarship that the Department of Labor is laying out to help develop these individuals for success. So that's a big question, is why isn't it being taken advantage of?
Right.
It's a fantastic opportunity to prepare yourself for the next level of training and or schooling, while saving money along the way. So.
And I think that's an important piece to it, because we've talked about the value of this program. It's living on campus. It's 3 meals a day. It's a stipend, right? A small stipend.
Yeah, a small bi-weekly stipend as well that students will get. But yeah, it's as you said, there's room and board are provided.
So the question becomes to someone who's sitting there thinking about it, what's it going to cost me?
Yeah, and so I always say it's like the cost is participation in time. That's what it's
That's
going
it.
to cost the young adult, is your participation, your commitment, and your time. And sometimes when you have a 16-year-old coming through the program telling them that they could be in Job Corps for a year to 2 years, well, that's an immense amount of time. But when we look at it, in adult life and setting, and you look at just a year of investment in yourself to get the education and skills that you need to be successful, it's short. And especially when room and board are also provided too, it's a no-brainer. It's a win situation.
And in the transitional period, in the placement services period, Job Corps funds travel to advanced training and room and board in places like Treasure Island in the Bay Area, one of the most expensive places to live in the planet. And we are supporting these kids for 6 months of advanced training by some of the best chefs in the culinary program in the Bay Area, and they're well equipped to make a higher wage and get a great job at fantastic restaurants or establishments afterwards. So that's another thing I should just kind of emphasize, is the support afterwards is really there, and it's impressed me.
Right. That's I guess the thing is that it's hard to imagine that there's a program out there that you can sign up for and commit to that doesn't have a price tag, or that after you finish and graduate you've got a loan to pay off, or you've got there's no payment involved.
Yeah, I mean, the price tag is, and it is very expensive, as Jim mentioned. The price tag is provided at no cost to the Department of Labor, but I mean, it is at a significant cost to the taxpayer. So that's why we have a fiduciary duty to our taxpayers, to the federal government, to ensure that we are providing the highest education possible to these students, and that we are placing them in higher education and employment, because that is our mission. That is what we are designed to do, to place them in higher education or employment, further training, and that's really what we work to do.
And now once they finish, you follow up with them for some period of time after they complete your program, right?
About a year. Okay. We're in contact with the students to make sure that they're employed, also to just check to see how they're doing. Another thing that I find that's really interesting about the Maui Job Corps and the 4 trades that we offer is that we are preparing people for jobs on the mainland if they want to go there too, but we're focused around the jobs that are here in the islands, so that if people want to stay home or stay here or move back to the islands, these are the jobs that you can take advantage of and succeed here for.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that. And also, when we're having our students go off to advanced training and we know to the mainland and we know that they're coming back home, it's really good because we can start working with our local employers and start pairing them up and say, hey, we have this student that completed the advanced culinary training program in Treasure Island, and they're coming back to Maui. Hey, can we help get them set up with a job for when they return, and really help that student make a successful transition, then coming back to Maui.
And speaking of transition and the benefits of Job Corps, we honor a transitional kind of stipend for the kids too. It's transitional cash. It's not going to make people rich, but it really helps them get established in their first apartment or their car loans or whatever they need. So that's another benefit that I'd like to highlight to people, that we're here to support you during and after.
It's a win-win.
It is.
Win.
Yes. Winning all around. It's the new year. We have bright things ahead for us in 2019, but I will be extremely evangelical about what our program does and who we serve, and what services we provide, not only to young adults, but also to employers, and then out of service, from the federal government.
Right. So if we were to wrap up, we're getting close to the end of the segment here. Last thoughts, a couple quick sentences. Why should somebody make that phone call? Why should they quit thinking about it and do it?
Well, if you're in transition or, high school, you want an alternative to your high school development, and you want a little direction and support and advanced training to, make your life easier and better in your, young adult stages, please give us a call and learn about our facility and our trades and our educational components, and come see the kids at the campus and our beautiful campus. And give me a call. Again, my name's Jim Cusick, and I can be reached at 808-579-6506.
Yeah, I think the last thoughts is that seeing the program in action sells the program. So if anybody is interested on seeing that, if you are auntie or uncle, grandma or grandma, mom, dad, that you just think that this could be a really good thing for a young adult that give Jim a call and just come on the tour and come check it out. It's just about an hour long. We'll walk you through everything. We'll provide you lunch, and it is a really great time, and the program really does sell itself. So 808-579-6506, that's Jim's number.
Yes, and tours are held every Thursday at the campus off Baldwin Avenue at 10 a.m., and they usually last about an hour.
There you go. Tomorrow's not too late.
No.
Thank you both for being here. This is the day after New Year's. Jim, Marshall. You shouldn't have two first names.
I know. I either have two first names or I have two last names, and it's confusing. But
thank you both for being here. Happy New Year to you folks. And
thank you,
we'll
Susie.
talk to you later on
Thanks,
in the year.
Susie.
Thanks. And we turn the tables here, and we're going to talk with Harry.
Yeah, here I am.
Harry Johnson.
Yeah.
From MEO's Transportation.
Yep, here I am.
And you've got about 38 years of transportation, don't you? Not quite.
I'd say 22, 23.
22, 23?
Yeah.
Started out with a beach buggy or something, didn't it?
It started out with a small vehicle or van, and it's grown to what we have now. It's close to 105 vehicles. So.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What are the ones that we see out at your transportation lot there on the highway by Puaneni?
Mm-hmm.
We see some Maui buses in there.
We see some Maui buses.
What's the connection?
That Maui bus logo is attached to vehicles that are used for the paratransit service.
And paratransit is?
Paratransit is a complimentary program for the Maui bus fixed route. Those buses travel along that same route at the radius of 3/4 of a mile along that exact route.
Okay. Yeah. From the route, anywhere along the route?
Anywhere along that route is where the paratransit clients can actually travel to and from. They cannot travel out of that 3/4 mile route, and that's where the MEO Human Services side comes in.
Okay, so they need assistance because they can't get to the bus stop?
The way that the paratransit service is conducted, they're utilizing, you can do it that way, where they will transport you from your home to the fixed route stops, but then we actually transport them from their home to anywhere within that 3/4 mile radius along area route. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
So the farthest in Wailuku on the fixed route is this on High Street. That's a state building stop.
Okay, yeah.
3/4 of a mile
Beyond would take
beyond
them
that,
towards EL.
just at the fork between EL Valley and Wailuku Heights.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the 3/4 mile stop. That's the farthest that it'll go.
Okay, now if someone is beyond that, you also have another service for
If it's
them.
beyond that, then they can use MEO's Human Services transportation, which basically they can use a shopping shuttle, which goes beyond the 3/4 mile radius.
Just
so
about
it's
anywhere.
It's kind of a package deal.
Yeah. Somebody asked me a question one day. They said they were trying to go from Pukalani to Kihei
They could.
for a doctor's appointment, and it was a little tough to get that arranged.
If they are qualified for both services, they would be able to perform that trip using two services.
Okay.
If they can use the paratransit if they're qualified for that, and then along with that, they can still get the Kihei on the paratransit as well. If they live outside of that 3/4 mile radius, we could bring them in with the human services, and we can transport them with paratransit service. But if they're only qualified for the human services, then basically they would use a shopping shuttle. They could actually come down, do shopping in the central Wailuku and Kahului area. But if they wanted to go to Kihei, they could use either the Maui bus, or if we have a shuttle on that day going back to Kihei, then they could use that as well. It's a collaboration of the fixed routes, the human services, and the paratransit service.
Is it easier to go to Lahaina than it is to Kihei?
It probably is. Actually, if they once they can get into the hub, as an example, using the fixed route, they can pretty much get around to wherever they need to go for $2 to $4. If they use the human services transportation, which is a shopping shuttle, or the Alaho services, they can get down into the central area of Maui, and we could actually do transfers out to Kihei or Lahaina. But it all depends on what services are being offered to those areas on those days.
I see. So that's based on need.
Correct.
Okay, so I couldn't, if I were a participant in your programs, I couldn't call just on a random day and say, hey, like today's Wednesday, Friday, I want to go to Kihei to this meeting.
It would take some coordination,
okay,
depending where they're coming from and where they're wanting to go, and if that's there's a return coming back on that particular day.
I got you.
Sometimes you might have people who will come in from the outlying areas, stay overnight, and then catch another bus on the next morning going in the other direction. So it all depends. Yeah, it all depends.
Yeah. Okay. So the way it basically is set up, it's to serve the outer areas, bringing them into the central core.
That would be the human services transportation. Correct.
And so that shuttle. Yeah, that's for your shopping. That's for your doctor's appointments. All those kinds of things, which that was the whole purpose of starting it, wasn't it?
Correct. That's basically where MEO kind of led towards in the beginning days, probably 80s, 90s, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, okay.
And still continuing.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take another short break. We'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Whoops. Hello. Pay attention, Susie. I'm sorry. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, your weekly radio show where we talk story with our nonprofit agency directors and staff and learn a little more about what they're doing and maybe get some success stories as to how we've been able to help some people that without us would be stranded, in this case, without a ride to wherever they're going or wherever they're coming from. It's got to be a tremendous task. You're talking about 105 buses. I mean, I know they're not all on the road at the same time, and they're all different sizes for the different areas and
Correct.
needs. But drivers, is that a constant battle for you?
Oh, yeah, drivers is a constant battle trying to retain or obtain drivers. We're about, I believe we're at 10 full-time employees or drivers short on the human services side. And I believe we just, we're at par with the paratransit service drivers. But
Wow.
it's tough. It's tough getting people to actually come and apply.
Are there just that many driving jobs out there?
There are.
I mean, I know it, like when school was starting, all the bus lines that do school service were looking for drivers, and that had to hurt.
Right.
And I mean, but you've got some drivers that have been with you for a long time.
I've got drivers that's been here since I was, in fact, even before that.
Oh,
So
really?
They've been with us for a long time, and it identifies their dedication towards the service, towards their job, and also their community. So
Right.
we appreciate that one.
Well, and there's an extra piece, I think, if they're driving for MEO versus driving for Roberts, Maui Bus, whatever, and that is that care and concern, a compassion for the people that they're serving, because they know they're their lifeline.
It's relative to where they live, and because they live on Maui, the human effect takes place, and so you know these people from quote unquote birth, and so you definitely want to put your all in to try and get them to where they need to go. And so it's a position, or it's a driving position that requires a lot of feeling and heartwarm type of ideology to make it work for them and for them to stay in that job. It's really a community-based type of operation where your effect is based upon how you serve people that you're going to meet on a daily basis.
Right.
Yeah, outside of the job. So.
And probably people you've met before under other circumstances. All of a sudden, you've got a new client you're picking up, and you go, "Oh my gosh, I know you."
Yeah, actually, besides the relatives that I do have, there are others that as an example, I've met today. I was driving in Lahaina, and I hadn't seen these people for ages. And it was nice to see them. And they're saying, "Wow, you're still working?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still here." Still here. Yeah.
Wow, you were out in Lahaina this morning, huh?
I was in Lahaina this morning. We had a driver call in, not being able to come to work, so came to work at 5:30, took the bus out, did these runs, said hello to people that I've seen a while back, finished the run, came back in to Central, came to jumped to other meetings, and then came here.
Oh, wow. So you don't have any boring days, I don't think.
No, I don't. It's really exciting. I mean, it's you're always on the ball, ready to
The
get it done.
versatility. I mean, I would think that would intrigue me. I would hate to just be stuck to a desk doing paperwork and being the boss. I'd love to get out there and do this and that, and I do from time to time with where I am. But for you, I mean, like you say, somebody called in sick this morning. Well, you can't change today's schedule because somebody called in sick.
Yeah, you try to. One of the things we try to do is when we find that out, we'll try to see if we can break up the run. But if we know that, I mean, with 10 drivers short on the human services side, we know that's like almost impossible. So they'll call a supervisor in, and I've got 9 of them. So we're in, and I just answer the call. That's the thing with the cell phone. You answer the call, and you just get to the job and do what you got to do and continue on. Yeah.
Right. Now, roughly how many people will it take to cover that one driver's pickups for today?
So as an example, typically this one driver will be able to handle that entire thing by himself.
Oh, okay.
However, he resides in Lahaina.
Oh, with no bus.
Well, with a bus.
Oh, he has a
yeah,
bus.
he has a
Okay.
bus. So because I live in Central,
You have to take a bus out
I have
there.
to take a bus out there and then try and figure out where each of the clients live. Use our GPS system and our clientele system on a tablet, and then get there and say, "This is the place. Hi, my name's Harry. Come on over. Let's go," and pick people up. It's exciting.
Yeah. Well, now, what time of the day would he have started his?
He would have probably started at about 6:30, 7.
Okay.
But I've got an hour lead time that I've got to get there.
Right.
So, and actually, my first pickup was at Mnpd Hall. So
Oh, gee. Okay, you might as well go all the way out.
yeah.
So, and then his day would end about.
His day would have ended, anywhere between 3, 4 o'clock.
Okay.
We have another driver that's also resides in Lahaina, so that
Okay.
balances things out.
Okay, so they can pick up the slack today.
Yeah,
Luckily.
yeah.
Interesting. So you do have some drivers who have buses at their house, so they don't have to come in and get a bus and go back out.
Correct, we do. Lahaina would be one, Hana would be another one, and then Molokai and Lanai,
Right.
they've got their own. So
So they don't have.
they don't come
okay,
over. Yeah, and I
gotcha.
don't go over either on the bus.
I like that planning. You guys are on top of it. Okay, good. And now you do a lot of dialysis.
We do a lot of
transportation.
dialysis. Yes, we do.
And that's a tricky thing because they're all on strict schedules.
They're all on schedules. We coordinate that with the dialysis centers. There's 2 of them, and we try and get them to get them there to get their treatment. Once they finish their treatment, then it's a matter of trying to get them home within a certain period of time. And with 10 drivers short, you can imagine what big of a scramble that is.
Right.
So it's really tough.
What's your turnaround time for, like, if somebody is in your system and needs, say they've had a medical situation and they've got an appointment with a doctor for tomorrow? How late in the day can they call to get a reservation to do a tomorrow thing?
They can call up to 4 p.m. For a reservation, whether it's for paratransit and then also for the human services. Both services are next day service. You call today for the next day, and you can book it up to 2 weeks in advance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can, if you know that your appointment is 2 weeks away, you can call
Right.
today and say, hey, I've got this appointment.
Yeah.
We'll give you the reservation number, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so you make your doctor's appointment tomorrow, you get there, and he says, I want to see you again in 10 days. You can turn around and make that appointment
Turn around,
reservation.
yeah, call back to our office, say, hey, I found out what my appointment is, what day it is, call again, and then we'll make that arrangement.
Right.
To see how that goes.
Is there, this is probably a tough question to answer, but is there ever a time where your whoever reservationists, is that what they're called?
Yes.
Ever looking at the schedule and going, we just can't do this?
There, I'm glad that you asked that. So there is a negotiation process that we go through, and basically we try to say, okay, we have that capability to negotiate your pickup time, and for that particular day. Yes, there are times when, and let me give you an example. So usually the beginning of the month is normally the busier time.
After that Social Security check comes in. They
Could
got to go
be it.
shopping, they
Could
got to
be
do
it.
this, they got to do
That
that.
could be it. Yeah. So it's really heavy at the beginning of the month, and then it will kind of teeter off in the middle, and spike up again, especially during the holidays. So just before the holidays come up, there's a lot of trips. People
Right.
wanted to go different places. So yeah.
Right. Now, that's a good question. Now, if they take it to go shopping, like do their Christmas shopping, how many things or how much bulk stuff can they bring on the bus with them to go home?
You mean no Christmas trees?
Yeah.
Actually,
least.
Actually, we limit that to 2 bags, or the bags that they can fit on their lap,
Okay.
or under the seat in front of them.
Okay.
Yeah, in the past, we've had requests to bring home sofas and stuff like that.
Oh
and
my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's been interesting.
We're not a moving company. We move people, not things.
Yeah. So there is a bag limitation, what they can carry on their person, on their lap, or under the seat.
Right. Getting back to the other question about the reservationist trying to rearrange a schedule. If somebody says, well, I've got this appointment with the doctor at 9:30, I mean, is it possible that, how much time do you say you need to be comfortable that they're going to be there by 9:30?
Let me give you from the perspective of the paratransit service.
Okay.
So in the paratransit service, they say, I want a 9 o'clock pickup time to get to my appointment, which is at 10. What we would do is say, okay, we're going to book your reservation based upon your drop-off time. So that would be 10 o'clock, because you need to be at the appointment by 10 o'clock. So the system will work from 10 o'clock backwards
Okay.
to where they would negotiate.
Now, this is all computerized.
It's all computerized.
Okay.
So you could, depending upon where you live, the system can say, okay, we'll pick you up at 9:30 or 9:15. If you live up country, obviously it's going to take a little longer, depending upon where that destination is. Excuse me. So that the system builds it from that point. Usually, if there's appointments that you have to be at, whether it's a medical appointment or you have to be at court and something like that, for the paratransit service, we will build it based upon that drop-off time, the time that you have to be there. We will do the same thing on the human services side, but there are limitations as far as when that service is available during the day. Yeah. Whereas the paratransit service is available basically from the time the Maui Bus fixed route starts to the time that it ends. Yeah, it's based upon that.
That's kind of a 6 in the morning?
It can be as early as 5:30 as
okay.
late as 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Yeah, it depends upon where you live and what routes are active during that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thinking about that 11:30, I mean, one could almost go to a performance at a theater or something.
You could. The Maui Bus has actually expanded their some of their services, so that's given where other users used to say, I can't do this because it doesn't allow me to finish the program. It's allowed that now. Now it's open up, so
Wow.
they had more flexibility on that.
Can you say no based on the fact that means there's only one person we have to pick up between the hours of 8 in the evening and 11:30?
On the paratransit services, I'd have to negotiate. We can negotiate up and down 1 hour.
Okay.
We can keep going back and forth.
I see. Oh, okay. And what are the hours then for the human services?
On the human services for the shopping shuttle, it's typically between 7:30 in the morning to 12:30.
Okay.
So because
That's to leave their home.
To leave their home, get here in the central area, Wailuku and Kahului, and then make their appointment or get to their appointment and then return back.
Oh, so leaving Central by 12:30?
By 12:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, depending
Okay.
upon where. If they're from
Okay.
Lahaina, they're going to be leaving probably about 12 versus 12:30 if they live right in Waikapu or in central area.
Okay.
So
But if and that's because of your drivers and the buses, you've got other contracts with like school children
there are other
and
contracts.
activities.
Youth transportation. There's daycare, Maui Adult Daycare. There's Halemakua, Kalima, Arc of Maui, a whole bunch of other agencies that we perform transportation services for. So
It's too bad you don't have anything to do.
I know.
Gosh,
Like being a radio show or something.
Yeah, right. I was sitting here listening to Adele and the different programs they have, and I think, wow, all the people they're serving. And then I talk to you, and I'm going, you're one facet, and transportation is just so all encompassing. I mean, how many seniors? Well, let's not take seniors. Let's take everybody. How many people? How many riders do you average? Pick
Per
whatever.
day. So let me give you an example of the trips that we perform. So on the paratransit side, on a daily basis, it's anywhere from 180 to 250
Trips.
trips per day. On the human services side, it can be anywhere from 480 to 656 trips.
So you can hit the 800 mark with just those two
Oh, yeah.
programs.
No, yeah,
In a
definitely,
day.
definitely.
And when you say trips, that's person in a seat.
And every time they get on board,
Yeah, okay.
that's one, and then when
Okay, so a person coming downtown and going home is 2.
that would be two.
Okay, so 800 minutes could net out to 300 or 400 people.
Yeah, it's busy.
I got you. Wow.
It's busy.
And 10 drivers down is a lot.
So Susie, I've got an application here for you.
I see. I think I started there one time.
That's correct.
Somebody wanted me to. No, I said, I could drive a bus. I think that would be fun. And I was told, no, that's hard work. You don't want to do that. But it's all in attitude.
Yeah, it is.
If you like people and you want to help them. And I think most of you writers are probably very thankful
They are.
for the service.
To which we totally appreciate it.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah, we totally appreciate
Yeah, I
their
mean,
patience as
there's
well.
going to be bumps in the road. Pardon the expression. But for the most part, I mean, hey, there's so many places around this country where you don't have this service.
For the price?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Harry, thank you for joining us today, and I
Thanks,
hope
Susie.
that some of the folks out there have been enlightened with how it works. And for more information, they can give you a call at
877-7651. That's our transportation department. And our Wailuku office, our administrative building, is actually 249-2990.
and they can go online to
To meoinc.org.
Okay, and check it out. Transportation. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's always enlightening to hear what transportation has to say. We want to thank Harry Johnson for being with us today. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, and we're sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the builder's choice. Give Paul and his staff a call at 986-0380 or stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard on East Oahe Way to see how they can help you with your building project. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's purpose is to provide an opportunity for nonprofit agency directors to gain personal and professional support through cooperative development activities. Maui Nonprofit Directors also provides an opportunity for networking to affect significant positive change in the community. Please visit our website at mauinonprofit.org for a list of member agencies. And also you can use that website to listen to some of our past shows. The shows that are on there, I think we started with September of 2018. Listings are on there, and each one shows the date and who the two agencies are that are in that show. So if you want to hear more about any of those, just click on that line and you can hear what they had to say. Today we visited with Marshall Norman and Jim Cusick from the Maui Satellite Job Corps Center and found out what's happening up there. We also talked with Harry Johnson, who's the transportation director at MEO, and got an update on what they are doing. If you heard anything that makes you want to get involved with one of these agencies, call them for more information on their program. We want to wish everybody a happy new year. I think it's starting out on the right foot. I feel good about it. It's kind of hard to get up and go to work this morning after 4 days off. One could get used to that, working 3 days and being off 4.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. But we probably have to just start out easy with working 4 days and getting 3 days off, because that's quite a jump from 5 working days down to 3. So we don't want to do that. But we do want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us, and we ask that you join us again next week right here, same time, same place, KAOI Radio, 1110 a.m., and on the FM dial at 96.7, 96.5 on the west side, and 98.7 upcountry and basically all over the central and east side of Maui for if you want to listen to the FM station rather than AM. Next week we'll feature representatives of 2 other member agencies of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. And until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific, and your host for Maui Nonprofit Notes. Please, everyone, have a great week, and we want to thank you again. We're going to let you listen to a little of our bumper music because we haven't had it on for a while. Have a great week, everyone.